If we want to determine the slope of the line, there are two ways of doing this. Recall that the slope is the ratio of the vertical change with respect to the horizontal change, which can also be expressed as the rise over run or the change in y with respect to the change in x. So, let's take a look at our line. If we can identify 2 points that have integer coordinates, we could analyze the graph of the line to determine the slope. For example, we could just analyze the vertical change and horizontal change from point -2, -2 to point 4, 1. Notice that if we move from -2, -2 to the point 4, 1, we would have to move 3 units up and 6 units to the right. So, the vertical change would be 3 and the horizontal change would be 6. Using this information, we can recognize that the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change, which would be our slope, is 3 to 6, or 3 over 6. And these both share a common factor of 3. So, the slope of the line is 1/2. Or, if we want to use these 2 points, we could use the slope formula, which is the difference in the y coordinates over the difference in the x coordinates. Let the point -2, -2 be our x1, y1, and the point 4, 1 be our x2, y2. The slope would be equal to 1 minus -2 all over 4 minus -2, which is also 3 over 6. Simplifying, we get the slope to be equal to 1/2. So, it doesn't matter which technique we use to determine the slope of the line. Let us take a look at another example. Suppose we have this line, and we want to determine the slope of the line. We could identify 2 points that have an integer coordinates, then analyze the graph of the line to determine the slope. For example, if we move from point 0,4 to point 2,1, we would have to move 3 units down and 2 units to the right. So the vertical change would be -3 and the horizontal change would be 2. Using this information, we recognize that the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change would be -3 to 2 or -3 over 2. We could move the negative sign in front of the fraction and express the slope as -3 over 2. This form is a little more common, but it really doesn't matter whether the negative sign is in the numerator, denominator, or in front of the fraction. The other option is to use the slope formula, which is the difference in the y coordinates over the difference in the x coordinates. Let the point 0,4 be our x1, y1, and the point 2,1 be our x2, y2. The slope would be equal to 1 minus 4 all over 2 minus 0, or -3 over 2. Moreover, it can also be written as -3 all over 2. So regardless of which method we use, the slope is going to be the same. The last thing to notice is that since the slope is negative, the line is sloped downwards from left to right. Note that this is always true when the slope is negative.